What happens when a billionaire walks into a tiny bookstore? One day, Jeff Bezos stumbled upon an old shop in New York, browsing through dusty shelves when a book caught his eye. But this wasn't just any book. Inside, there was a mysterious note from a man he had never heard of. When the shopkeeper spoke, Bezos froze. This couldn't be a coincidence. Jeff Bezos had just finished a long meeting and decided to take a walk through New York's side streets to clear his mind. His days as Amazon's CEO were behind him, but his habits hadn't changed. New ideas often came unexpectedly, and sometimes he needed solitude to think. On a quiet street, he noticed a small old bookstore. Its window was dusty, and the sign was almost unreadable. But something about it felt different. It had a soul, a story. As he stepped inside, the nostalgic smell of old books and faint traces of dust filled the air. The wooden floor creaked beneath his feet, and a dim yellow light flickered above. The air was thick with the scent of aged paper, ink, and something else, something almost magical. Shelves lined the walls, crammed with books that seemed untouched for decades. He ran his fingers along the spines, feeling their worn textures, until he found a worn, leather-bound book. As he carefully opened it, a small yellowed piece of paper fluttered to the ground. He picked it up and read the handwritten note inside. "If you found this book, fate brought you here. Don't leave without speaking to me." Bezos was stunned. Who had written this note? Was it meant for him? His heartbeat quickened as he turned around. Behind the counter, an old man watched him with knowing eyes. His face was wrinkled, his white beard neatly trimmed, and his hands rested on the counter as if he had been waiting for this moment. "So, you finally came," the man said with a smile that held both wisdom and mystery. Bezos hesitated. "What do you mean?" he asked, gripping the book a little tighter. The old man placed his hand on the book and whispered, "This book has been waiting for you." "But the book isn't what matters. What truly matters is a choice you made years ago." Jeff Bezos' mind raced with questions. Who was this old man? What choice was he talking about? And most importantly, what secret was hidden inside this book? The old man stepped from behind the counter, moving slowly but deliberately. "Do you believe in destiny, Mr. Bezos?" he asked, his voice deep and steady. "Some would say your life has been written in the stars, but I believe it is written in the choices we make." Bezos felt a strange sense of familiarity, as if he had met this man before. "Who are you?" he asked. The man chuckled. "A storyteller, a keeper of forgotten things, and perhaps, just perhaps, someone who knows more about your past than you do." He gestured toward a worn-out armchair near the counter. "Sit, let me tell you a story." Jeff hesitated, but found himself drawn to the man's presence. He sat down, and the old man leaned forward, lowering his voice, as if about to share a secret centuries old. "Years ago, when you were just beginning your empire, you made a choice, one that changed everything. But do you remember what you sacrificed?" Bezos' brow furrowed. He had made countless choices in his life. Which one could this man be talking about? The old man continued, "The past never disappears, Mr. Bezos. It lingers, waiting for the right moment to remind us of what we left behind." At that moment, the bookstore door creaked open. A young woman stepped inside, her face partially hidden beneath a scarf. She hesitated upon seeing Bezos, then turned to the old man. "Is it time?" she asked softly. The old man nodded. "Yes, he's ready." Bezos turned from the old man to the woman. "Ready for what?" The young woman reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a photograph, handing it to him. Bezos took it hesitantly. It was an old, faded picture of a younger version of himself, standing outside a small bookstore. This very bookstore. Next to him stood a man who looked eerily familiar. His breath caught in his throat. This This isn't possible. The old man smiled knowingly. Oh, but it is. The past always has a way of catching up with us. Bezos's head spun. He had no memory of this moment, yet here was the proof in his hands. The young woman finally removed her scarf, revealing striking green eyes. My father wanted you to have this, she said, pulling out a small key. He said one day you'd come back. A key? Bezos whispered. To what? The old man chuckled again. To a choice you once made, and a door you once closed. He gestured toward a hidden doorway at the back of the store. Go on, find your answers. Jeff hesitated, but curiosity won over. He stepped forward, key in hand, and unlocked the door. Beyond it lay a dimly lit room, filled with old manuscripts, photographs, and a desk with his name engraved on it. His hands trembled as he flipped through the papers. They were business plans, letters, ideas, ones he had once dreamed about but abandoned. His chest tightened. Had he truly left these behind? The old man's voice echoed behind him. Every empire has its lost chapters, Mr. Bezos. The question is, will you rewrite them? Bezos turned around, his mind whirling with emotions. He had built one of the greatest companies in history, but had he lost something along the way? He looked back at the old man and the young woman. They were waiting for his answer. He took a deep breath. Maybe it was time to revisit his past and decide what truly mattered. And with that, we reach the end of this incredible story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another fascinating story. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.